Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 159 of D&D Discussions, the podcast for players and DMs alike, where we cover a wide variety of topics to help you with your games. I'm your host, Ryan Reeder, and with me, as always, is my good buddy, Ben Bumhopper. How are you doing tonight, Ben?
I am doing. That's right. I am here. I am ready to talk. I am ready to listen, and I am ready to discuss.
All right. Well, me too.
Oh, well, good.
We actually have a really good topic that you came up with.
Oh, well,
that
thank you.
I think is really, really good, and we haven't really touched on yet, but it does affect a lot of people. And then we also have some really cool news that has come down the pipe in the last 2 weeks. So we're gonna jump into that first, and I'm really excited to hear how you're what we do in the shadows. Uh-huh.
I have a handout that I can talk about.
Oh my God. I'm so excited. So excited. We will get to that. We'll get to that soon enough. First off, Wizards of the Coast / D&D Beyond released their Q3 2026 partnered content release schedule. As they said, they are trying to be more transparent with this, and they wanted to get these things out a little early. Right now, they're deep in the season of horror with Ravenloft, Horrors Within, and there will be some additional horror-inspired things to come out alongside of it before we shift into Season of Magic, taking the tone in a new direction with releases full of wonders, secrets, and spellbinding possibilities. So they also announced that Legends of Greyhawk, a new set of things all about Greyhawk, and not just Forgotten Realms, right? They're wanting to really start exploring some of their other settings. Is going to be coming soon. We're gonna see some stuff in July. We're gonna see some stuff in August and September. So this is a really cool thing, and I'm glad they are starting to venture out a little bit and expand and start revisiting some of their other settings, right?
Yeah, I think it's pretty great. And, as I've always said, anything that's out there is something you can use in your own setting. So learning more about all these different places is really cool, and it just adds to the overall content.
Yeah. So first off, we have Steinhardt's Guide to the Eldritch Hunt player pack. This pack brings 7 gothic subclasses for a world of eldritch horror. Wield brutal trick weapons, survive creeping madness, and face the scourge that consumes everything. This is going to be coming out in June, and there is not much of June left. So by the time you hear this episode, it may be out.
I would assume so. Otherwise, it's out tomorrow.
That's right. In July, we have Valda's Spire of Secrets Player Pack 2. And sorry, the last one was from Monkey DM, and then this next one is from Mage Hand Press, one of my personal favorite third-party publishers. Additional options from the fan favorite Valda's Spire of Secrets includes 7 subclasses and a pet rock.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want a pet rock?
Can I name him Rocky?
Yeah, you certainly can.
Oh, definitely.
Also coming July, and in fact, we'll talk about it here a little more in a second, because the pre-order just went up, is a kind of out of left field one.
Yeah.
It is a Vampire the Masquerade Bound by Blood 5/5. And we'll jump into that in a little bit more in just a second, because that I think deserves its own little spot.
Yeah.
Also in July, Legends of Greyhawk. This is the first Legends of Greyhawk West Coast Adventurers Guild. Delve into the dangers that plague the beleaguered communities of the Wild Coast and set things right. 3 adventures for levels 1 to 4, and introductory 1 to 2 are up in this bundle, and it is approved for play in the Legends of Greyhawk organized play campaign that is starting up. Look for it in friendly local game stores near you. In August, we have Frontiers of Eberron, Quickstone, for 5/5. Journey across the western frontier, the contested land that lies between the ancient kingdom of Breland and the rising nation of Drome. And so this is basically new player, new character options, new species, harpy, gargoyle, medusa, monster species, a Heart of Stone adventure, and it is a mainly adventure source book. But I'm sure there are tons of Eberron fans.
Hmm.
I love the steampunky, magic punk setting of it. So really awesome to see more of that come into D&D Beyond.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
This next one
oh,
I
go
think
ahead.
looks really cool. Just because I love me some dragons. The field guide to floral dragons. It's
Floral dragons.
Yeah, I know, right? It's the incredible art of floral dragon speaks for itself. Look at that dragon. It's a gorgeous blend of nature and creature for new monsters at your table. Plus, they have 3 new subclasses and a new species, which I think is really great. My guess for the new species would be floral dragonborn, but that's just a guess because I haven't read this.
I
But
mean, that would make a lot of sense.
yeah, but I mean, the idea of that, oh, that's really cool. Like a nature bound dragon of some sort. I think that's cool. I'm definitely going to be looking into that one.
Yeah, and that is from Hit Point Press, which is also another fantastic third-party publisher.
Definitely.
So yeah, I will definitely be taking a look into that one too. And then finally, in August, uh, we have another Legends of Dreyhawk, Dreams of the Chained God. This is going to be adventures for levels 5 through 10, with themes connecting both the season of horror and the season of magic. And this is again approved for play in the Legends of Greyhawk organized campaign. And then finally in September, we have the third Legends of Greyhawk, the Tear Stained Idol, from Gang Conclave. This is 3 adventures for levels 5 through 10 and can be used in the organized play campaign too.
Yeah,
So,
you got to watch out when your idols are tearing up.
yeah, that's usually like bad.
Yeah, something big's going on.
Yeah. Usually bad, but some pretty cool stuff.
Yeah.
I like to that they are doing this. I give big props for this. With what's coming, pulling stuff from like well-known third-party publishers, and then there's a few new ones usually or has been in each of these, giving other high-quality third-party supplements a chance. So I really like that they're doing this.
Yeah, and I mean, we're just gonna jump right into this. Vampire the Masquerade coming to 5.5.
Yeah, we got to talk about this a little bit because this was very surprising,
Yeah.
and it's by Ghostfire, which again, phenomenal third party publisher, and they're working directly with White Wolf. Like this is official White Wolf stuff. It is a full on Vampire the Masquerade, complete new kindred class, so 1 to 20 vampire class, powered by blood points, disciplines, and the ever clawing beast inside. 6 subclasses, which are
Yeah, the different
your
clans.
different clans. Yeah, so Bruja, Gangrel, Sombra, Nosferatu, Toreador, and Ventru. Um, Dark Ages Mystery for level 4 characters. New backgrounds, feats, and gear, and 2 new thematic mechanics, rules for masquerade level and narrated feeding, and bring the dread and tension of World of Darkness onto your 5/5 table.
It's
So
really cool.
I I've seen a lot of people just like in my normal like blue sky scroll go like why are they doing this, like why just go play vampire, right? And I get it. I really do. I really do. There is something to be said for the D&Dification of quote unquote everything,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
The not everything has to be D&D. And I think that has some merit. I really do. I really do. But I think in this case, one, it is official White Wolf. Like they decided to do this. Two, D&D is still the top dog by mountains.
Yep.
It like there is still absolutely nothing close. There just isn't. Um, Number three, a vampire's full vampire class sounds super cool in fifth edition. And I think a lot of the Vampire the Masquerade mechanics and setting and tone will fit pretty well into D&D. But at the end of the day, I honestly think this is a pretty good way to also get Vampire the Masquerade out there,
Yeah.
get more people knowing about it, and especially if the class and the subclasses play, you know, relatively similar or at least have a similar feel to actual Vampire the Masquerade. I think this supplement could be a fantastic gateway to Vampire the Masquerade because I personally would say, hey, if you like this, go try Vampire because
Yeah.
Vampire is really good. And it is a full system designed around some of the stuff that you are playing with in this thing.
Yeah, Vampire is the first TTRPG that I ever played. This was way back when I was a freshman in high school. Played a few sessions, and then I also GM'd it a little bit, like my first year in college. Again, just a couple sessions, and so I definitely have that whole like love for it from forever ago. But like the idea of this coming into D&D, I think works out really well because, I mean, there isn't really a way to really play a vampire well. I mean, we just got the Dampier, which is, in the newest Eberron book, or not Eberron book, Ravenloft book. And so, it's like it's your species, but the class itself is still, whatever you're doing. So you're just like, oh, I like to bite people, and then that's kind of it. Actually adding different mechanics, adding like the actual class in there as a kindred as opposed to just kind of a species. I think that opens up a lot of really interesting things, a lot of different interesting pairings, and even more so I think it adds a lot to like whatever lore you're putting in your world, whether it's a specific license one, if it's your homebrew world, whatever. I think that it's actually a really cool thing to do because it's adding more than just some monsters in. It adds culture and lore and mechanics and everything. And just putting it into 5.5, guess what? It's something that you don't have to figure out if you want to have that sort of thing in your game. And I think that it's just something that needed to be added. And surprisingly, we're getting the White Wolf version of it, which I think is great.
Yeah, I mean, I can't. It's very hard for me to say more content and more options is bad
Yeah.
because under most circumstances, it's not. More choice is great. Um, Obviously, it feeds into D&D, but
Feeds.
I don't know. I feel like, yeah. Oh God. It does. It feels like these types of things, these little tie-ins, like the Cthulhu
Mm-hmm.
supplement that we talked about a few months back, can very much lead back to the worlds from where they originated, and can give people a taste of these other TTRPGs that they might not have heard of or might not ever have thought to try
Yeah.
before something like this.
It gives you a chance
So
to dip in your
yeah, I
toe
can't
into the deep end.
I can't be mad about it. I'm actually very excited for it. I will probably get it, and I will continue to sing the praises of Vampire the Masquerade as its own TTRPG.
As
In
you
fact,
should.
as I should. In fact, if you are interested in it and you are subscribed to Dropout, and if you're not, why are you not? Uh,
Seriously.
Dimension 20, their current campaign is running with the Vampire the Masquerade system. And it is very good. It is phenomenal, and I love it. But that it's a great way to get your toes dipped in, especially for the actual Vampire the Masquerade mechanics. versus, D&D. So
Hmm.
again, I do think this is a good thing. I really
Definitely.
do. And if it can get White Wolf a foot in the door of some of this, giant D&D cake, so much the better. So much the better. Okay. Also, we have a smaller, kind of new Unearthed Arcana. This is an Unearthed Arcana Villainous Options update from the original Villainous Options we talked about. So we talked about this at length, obviously. We're not going to go back and deep dive and analyze, but we wanted to just cover a few of the little bits, just the highlights, really. They basically came in and said uh, they talked to like the community leaders, that new council, especially about Unearthed Arcana, cadence, timing, and transparency. And what we heard during those sessions echoed feedback we received recently from fans like you. One recurring nugget is that they want more transparency when it comes to playtest content. And it can take a while for playtest content to appear in an official D&D product. As we've have talked about before, some book timelines, can be 2 years plus, right?
Hmm.
For some of these things. So understandably, players and DMs want to know the fate of the content they've seen before it shows up in a release. How did it do? What about the villainy paths? What can you expect from the subclass you loved or thought needed more time? So they are said going forward, they are going to try and make that more apparent and transparent to everyone as they kind of give the what happened in the latest UA, or here's the revision of it. This is why. So I think this is going to be a really good path going forward, and that kind of they go through all the specifics. You can also download it. Obviously, we'll have it in a link in the show notes on dndiscussions.com. But they talked about how this doesn't contain any content from the second Villainous Options. That is still to come.
Yeah.
But they wanted to do a quick update. So basically, Path of Lament Barbarian, people loved it. Great flavor and features. You might see it appear in a future product with minor tweaks. And I think Ben, you were talking about how much you actually said you really liked the concept of that.
Yeah, I really think that it's really neat. It's, basically giving a barbarian a really good story, like kind of baked into their subclass. I think that's pretty awesome. And the fact that a lot of the flavor and, the features and stuff kind of held true really showed that I had a good opinion for once because a lot of people agreed with
You
me.
have lots of good opinions.
We'll see.
That was one of them. Uh, they said respondents also love the Pestilence Domain Cleric, and you might see that appear in a future product with minor tweaks. The Circle of the Titan Druid, which was probably me and Ben's favorite of the bunch,
Hmm.
um, was a big hit. But despite its popularity, we're presenting a revised version in the UA that addresses some opportunities for improvement, which is really good because I think both of us liked the concept, but felt like it was a little weak mechanically.
Yeah, it lacked like, for lack of a better word, some heft to it, and it's kind of a bummer that, we were so excited about something, but yet so disappointed with the mechanics on everything that was actually put in there. But I mean, the good news is that, some of the feedback that they've talked about with this is like the circle spells are, slightly different. Instead of cure wounds and stone skin, they're adding in enlarge reduce, which, I mean, that definitely should have been there beforehand. I mean, who'd have thought? And Fire Shield, which I think also works really well in that kind of like Titan feel for it. The Titan form, they wanted it to feel like tougher, but not outpacing the Circle of Moon subclass, which I mean makes sense because, you have one where you turn
Circle of
into
the Moon is
something,
supposed
one
to
where
be
you
the
turn into another.
shapeshift.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly. But they did
I
increase
get
the
it.
AC of each of the Titan forms essentially by 2. So instead of 11 plus your Wiz modifier, it's 13. And then for your temporary hit points, you get 4 times versus 2, which works. And the trade off on this, I think, also works really well too. instead of like, number of hours equal to your druid level, you get 10 minutes. So like this is your, I'm popping this massive monster, I've got 10 minutes to do what I can in it. And I think that that is actually a really good kind of trade-off on that. And then, some of the specific Titan forms had some different tweaks and everything with with them and stuff, which I think also works. There's more acid damage for when monsters, or when, when they eat swallowed creatures. And again, it's just adding more damage to it, more things that I think it's going to feel a little bit better than it was before. Is it still going to be, as punchy? We'll see. You know, but I think that those are some definitely steps in the right direction on it.
Yeah, yeah, I completely agree. I love the concept. Obviously, it's going to be hard to fully mechanically match the concept, but I think we both discuss how we think they could get a lot closer while
Mm-hmm.
still saying in that balance bounds, and it seems like they are trying to do that. So
Yeah.
that's really good. They talked about the Hell Knight fighter, um, how it could have burned brighter. They people love the subclass's narrative and theme, but some aspects of the mechanics necessitated a second pass. So is a reworked version in this.
Yeah, the big
Um,
differences on that is that it's, even though it's like, kind of based on luck, it's not relying heavily on luck anymore. They've altered some
it
things
was
on
too
there.
much luck
Yeah.
before,
Yeah.
basically. Yeah.
And I mean, we know if Will Wheaton were to play this character, or this class or a subclass, wouldn't be cool at all because nothing good would happen.
Yeah.
And there are people like that who have bad luck sometimes with their rolls and stuff. So yeah, it happens. So taking that
Yep.
aspect and making it a little bit lesser, I think is really the way to go for this.
Yeah. I agree. They also talked about the Warrior of Venom Monk, which is praised for its theme and creativity, as well as the perceived viability of how it approached a poison focused character option. So that was given a thumbs up. And like the Hell Knight, the demonic sorcerer subclass ooze with the demonic flavor. Players like the idea of it, but the mechanics didn't pass the sniff test. So a revised version of that is appearing in this UA as well.
Yeah, with this, there's a couple changes to like how some of your abyssal stuff works, and then also, I think that one of the big things too, if I remember correctly. Oh no, wait, that's the Hellfire Knight or Hellfire Fighter. Never Hell Knight Fighter. Um, no, but yeah, the demonic sorcery, they kind of played around more with like the abyssal stuff, being able to do things at range and choosing where things are and stuff. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it made it feel a little bit more demonic, and based on the spells and stuff.
Yep. And then the thing that made me happy was the two paths of villainy, the Death Knight and the Path of the Lich, were welcomed with open, rotting arms. You might see these feats appear in a future product, but not without some in-house adjustments, such as exploring options for the Death Knight that are friendlier to a wider cast of martial classes. I really, really like this a lot because I thought that was the paths thing for feats, or as additions if you wanted to, with is the if the DM wanted to, were a super good idea.
Mm-hmm.
And I really, really like, because it adds an extra path of progression beyond the subclass,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
I really, really like a lot. So I'm excited to see those two make it in, and I'm excited to see more of those make it in, hopefully in future books, because I think the whole paths concept is a very good one.
Yeah. Exactly.
And then finally, the Primordial Patron Warlock received mixed feedback. Players felt it was too thematically similar to the Genie Patron from Tasha's, and respondents were divided on its core feature elemental node. They're putting the subclass on the back burner for now, as it didn't meet their standards for inclusion.
Yeah. Kind of makes
So
sense.
it does. It does. So only one gone, several getting passed to just their internal balance, and then just a few reworks. So if you want to go check that out, you can follow the link. We'll have it on the show notes, dndiscussions.com. The survey for the revised is up now as well. So take a look at that, the revisions, and give your feedback. But it is I love the extra effort they put into explaining the stuff for it. I like that a lot, and I hope we continue to see that in the future.
Yeah, it's just going again to show that they're listening and adding that transparency, which we've been getting a lot of this year, and I'm very excited about that.
Yep. And then finally, just a small update for maps. Uh, for those that use it, there is finally token resizing inside the maps, which is very, very nice. As well as journal edit mode to help DMs prep faster, remember more, and keep the story alive between sessions.
Yep, that's
Um,
phase 2 for the journal.
Yep, phase two for the journal. So for those that use maps, a nice little update for you all, and it's nice that they just keep making it better. It's probably turning into one of the better products that they offer through D&D beyond the character creator.
Definitely.
Yeah, very cool. Okay, so let's shift gears a little bit and dive into our topic tonight. We're gonna just have a little discussion about banning things.
What?
Uh, I know, right? Uh, Things like spells, species, feats, maybe subclasses, maybe magic items, uh, and just have a whole discussion around like the philosophy behind banning things, what we normally do, should you do it? Is it a good idea to limit certain things? So Ben, this is a brilliant topic of conversation because it does come up from time to time, especially for newer DMs that might have read something about, oh, this spell is overpowered, or this species is got like a leg up on everybody else, or this item is just
Yeah.
fully broken. So what is your take on just banning stuff in general?
Um well, first and foremost, the fact that there's now a 5.5 version, I think that you might see more tables banning specific things, like definitely legacy versions of spells and species and stuff like that. But there are some things out there that, even though 5.0 is supposed to be 100% back compatible with 5.5, some people might think that some things don't translate as well, or maybe are too overpowered, or there's always the possibility that they're too underpowered too. So whether that's like subclasses or items or something like that, there is always the idea of well, let's not put it at the table because it's just going to give someone way too much of an advantage, or put them underpowered incredibly so versus compared to the rest of the players. um my personal feeling on banning, spells or species or feats or anything like that, my personal thing is I pretty much am fine with anything that's like 100% Wizards of the Coast content. At some point it was play tested. At some point they thought, hey, this will work. So I'm not going to do my due diligence and try to find the flaw or the way to incredibly overpower every single item and spell. Um, that being said, if something comes up that's like really like breaking the game, I understand that it's my responsibility to either find a way to counter it, or to just kind of have a talk with the player who's using said ability or spell or something like that, just to kind of be like, hey, let's look at this together. Let's find a happy medium where you're not just completely destroying every single encounter that I make, or the story that I built or something like that. It a lot of banning comes down to communication overall. Like if you want a certain spell or something that you banned or not chosen throughout the entire course of the campaign, up front just say, hey, I don't like this. That's kind of what you need to do. That being said, I look at those things as kind of more of a challenge of, what can I do to kind of, incorporate this? Is it something that's really a problem? Is it just I'm upset because my level 10 monster didn't get to go as many times as I wanted him to? Like there's different things and aspects and levels on where you might want to start banning something. But overall, I think it comes down to, as the DM, you have to see what fits in your world, what you can make work, what you can't. And that's kind of where it comes down to, really. It's, is this something that will fundamentally break your game and you can't think of a way to counter it? Is it something that's, you might have a min maxer in your party and they're combining four different feats so that every single turn they can do 500 damage? I mean, yeah, there's a lot that can kind of go into these things. Like, Ryan, have you ever had to ban something, or like kind of what's your overall stance?
Yeah, it's a really interesting topic. Um, just as a general note, if anything that is from an official supplement, I will almost universally allow, whether
Mhm.
it be, like an item or a spell or feats or species or whatever. Um, there's very few times that I narrow that down a little bit. Um, the biggest things these days that I end up worrying about, and this is, and I can go off on a tiny little tangent here because this is partially D&D Beyond's fault, um, is third
All the
party
third
stuff,
party stuff. Yep.
because D&D Beyond right now has no good way of restricting the content that is available to your players if you've owned it and shared it. You can
Well,
block them from reading
in the
like the
character
adventures in the
creator,
source book.
you can choose specific things, but if you enable partner content, they could just go in and just turn it back on.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So I mean there's no good way from like at a campaign level. Like I really want a way at a campaign level when I go into the campaign and I go into the, like the shared tab
Hmm.
and I'm turning these things off so the players can't like open them up and read them. But I mean, there's even literally a disclaimer on the top that says this does not affect content in the character creator. And so I really wish there was an option as a DM at a campaign level where I could turn that off. Um, I don't have time to go through every single third party spell
Hmm.
or item. Um, so, and players will find the stuff. And they half the time they won't even know it's not an official thing.
Yeah.
Like I had a player, one of the new players that joined my campaign, uh, added a few spells. One of them they didn't even know. One of them was from Book of Ebon Tides, and one of them, two of them were from Crooked Moon. The funny thing is, and this is another little little thing, is that I don't even own those, but another player in my campaign, even though they're not sharing, that has a master tier subscription, does own them, which is
Oh.
giving apparently the rest of my players access to those
Oh, that's interesting.
supplements. So that was an interesting quirk I just found out 2 days ago.
Wonder if that'll
Um,
change with the upcoming revamp of everything.
I'm really hoping with the revamp we're able to get a lot more granular.
Yeah.
And like book by book, I can just go block player options, block spells, block
Hmm.
species, block feet, or just block this whole book. Like I don't want to deal with it, right? Or block all non-official content
Yeah.
from the campaign level, not from a character level.
Yeah. It would make
Um,
sense.
it just makes a lot of sense. So, anyways, tiny tangent on that. So normally when that type of stuff happens, or if a player just like uses a spell that's like, wait a second, I've never heard of that before. And I go look it up and it's a third party thing. What I always tell my players is, hey, if you use something and it causes an issue or it's broken, we'll have a conversation about it. And we might just have to say, just pick a different spell.
Yeah.
Right. Um, Especially if it's third party content. Um, but I like to be fairly open because there are some really cool third party things. Um, that players have access to and that these third parties have dreamed up. So I don't like to be super limiting, but I'm very upfront about that with my groups that hey, if there's something that is causing a problem or something that is overpowering or overshadowing what everybody else can do, we need to have a discussion about it and potentially you might not be able to use that or we
Yeah.
might have to pick something different.
Yeah, it's kind of similar to when you homebrew spells or items or things like that, where if you create it and it's way overtuned, it's like, oh, we may need to talk about maybe reining that in a little bit.
Yeah.
That's
And
definitely similar in that sense.
Yeah, and I mean, I think we even talked about that a little bit in our home brewing
Yeah,
episodes, but yeah, that's always a homebrew caveat I give too, is that hey, here's something I think it's okay. Obviously, it's not been tested yet, so as we go, if something is broken about it, we're gonna tune it.
yeah.
Yeah, short and sweet.
So
S- so like that's like the spell aspect of it.
yeah, so like moving in, I pulled up some I I guess popular spells and like feats and a couple species that are banned. And by popular, I mean ones that kind of people have reasons for a lot of the time. And you know, you could give a reason on why every single one of them is. I could give a reason on why I probably wouldn't, or how I would incorporate it in my game where it wouldn't be a problem. Like one of the ones that surprised me until I kind of thought about it is Goodberry. You and I kind of talked a little bit about it beforehand about how it's such the simplest spell. Why would this be an issue? And it comes down to some sort of campaign where it's going to be weeks traveling through the wilderness where foraging for food or hunting or something is super important. Whereas if just one little cast of Goodberry and suddenly everybody's full and fine and not hungry and stuff. It destroys a mechanic that you wanted in your game just with the simple flick of your fingers of, hey, I've got 10 berries here. Yay. Um, there's something that I saw that, people are like, okay, well, you can still have this and have it, matter, but make it so that it's enchanting a berry that they find. So they actually still have to forage and find it or something. Or, maybe there's components that are involved as opposed to just boom, hey, I have berries in my hand. It's a way to kind of get around it, but still give people that, that ability to, have the magic there, be a druid and, being able to use the wilderness for your advantage, which I think is a good way of kind of going about it. Find kind of the middle ground on something that works. And again, just talk with your players beforehand to say, hey, the theming and how I'm envisioning this campaign is going to be this. This completely negates a big chunk of my campaign. How about this? And kind of go through it. And if your player's like, no, I need to have Goodberry and it needs to act how it is, maybe they're not the right person for your campaign. Just, simple hands down like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I know, and I see on your list too. Um, Wish.
Yeah.
That's another big one. And I totally get why someone would want to ban. One thing I've heard about some people doing is having Wish operate only with the text is written. Like here are the things you can use Wish
Yeah.
as a baseline. Um, I totally get that. I would totally understand if that's what a DM wanted to do with it, because it's such an ephemeral thing, especially if you are not a high improv DM. Uh, that spell could give you nightmares.
Yeah, or I
Uh,
mean, to be fair, or a very specific OCD kind of DM where you can find and twist the exact wording of the wish into something that, like, monkey paws them.
yeah. And so, and I mean, if you read the actual text of Wish, it's incredibly powerful. As the rules is written, this is what you should use Wish for, and not have to roll to see if you never can use it again, type thing.
Yeah.
Um, so that like totally get that one.
Yeah.
Totally get that one. And I saw the one of the most divisive spells in the game, Silvery Barbs.
Yeah. And you know what? The thing about silvery barbs is that I'm it can be annoying, but I'm fine with it because it is just a re-roll and you have to use the new roll. So you can actually roll better. You can roll a crit. You have just as much of a chance of hitting the same thing or, something better that you do of failing that roll. I like that it gives advantage to, the person of their choice because you're like messing around with luck and stuff. Like personally, I like the spell and I've had it used against me quite a bit and I'm okay with that. But I can see where it is very frustrating if like every caster in your party has it and your monster can't do anything. Um, and to that, what I have to say is if the players can have it, you can too. So if they start shooting that off all the time at you, have multiple casters that are shooting it off at them all the time. I mean, it's kind of a jerk move, but if everybody's doing it to you, you have the ability to do it right back.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and you can always put limits on things too if certain things are becoming a problem.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, okay, this everyone is some kind of caster in this party. Everyone has access to silvery barbs. And you guys are in some ways kind of abusing it for these type of things. I'm going to say only one person
Per
can
round.
use it per round.
Yeah.
And that's not necessarily a bad thing because at the end of the day, you're not limiting the ability to have the spell. You're just limiting the usage of the spell for your own sanity and balance reasons.
Yeah. Or maybe put a rule
Because
on
not
it that,
every encounter can have other casters. Not every encounter can have counter spelling. Like,
mhm.
not every encounter is going to be something that can deal with that, depending on where they are and what the world is and what kind of things are going on. So, as a DM, don't be afraid to meet that sort of thing head on if it is causing issues or problems or reducing the viability of your combat, making abilities, especially based on the area you are or the enemies they're fighting, down to next to nothing. don't
Yeah.
feel don't feel bad about that.
And I mean, another way that you can limit it is it can't be upcast. So it's what, a level one spell. So at most you have 4 uses. That's it. And yeah, I mean, it involves your reaction. So, it's not like you can cast it all the time. And at lower levels, you have to choose between, an offensive spell versus that. And, there are some ways around it, but every single character casting it all the time, yeah, there's got to be limits in there somewhere for that.
Yeah, it's again very very party dependent.
Yeah,
um
counter spells another one. It kind of falls in the same thing. But with the rework on it, I think it's good. And also, again, I think that it's something that like all of my enemy casters have, and if you know, for the most part, I don't use it. But if it starts getting abused, then they're gonna start breaking it out.
I did counterspell a counterspell
Yeah,
my last session.
yeah. Bigger enemies, that happens.
Yeah.
It sucks, but
Yep.
it happens. What's really bad is when you're ultimately evil and you counterspell revivify or like a big cure or something like that.
Mhm.
Yeah,
That's yep.
yeah.
Yep. Villains are mean, man.
Yep.
Villains
Yeah.
are mean.
Um
Um,
Another
what
one that
about
I saw on there.
oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, remove curse. And
That's a really interesting big one because I know that some campaigns use curses or cursed items as very big story or plot points.
mhm,
And
yeah.
having a spell that can basically just turn that off can certainly be a problem.
Yeah, and one of the ways that I've thought about it, and in fact, I had to use it with, um, in my campaign, the spell magic. I kind of had to tweak it because otherwise they were completely going to change and alter a huge event, and it basically comes down to, oh well, it's a really ancient magic, it's strong, it's holding up against your remove curse or something along those lines. For me, it was some incredibly powerful runes that were like sucking the life force of this village, and it ended up taking like 3 players all using some form of dispel magic or holy power or something to actually end up removing them, so it wasn't just a very simple, oh it's done, oh it's done. And
Yeah, you
that's
can do
one
the
way.
same thing for your curses.
Yeah.
Like this is an ancient curse. Like this item is older than, you know, this city you are standing in. Like you with your level 3 or whatever remove curse are not going to touch this.
Yeah. And
And that
then,
is okay to say sometimes.
yeah.
It
And
is.
even on top of that, for like cursed items or something, remove curse can just maybe, uh, stop the attunement, but the item is still tainted and bad. And, like you can't just get rid of it that way. Just as something to just kind of work around, keep around and stuff. Then, if anybody accidentally touches it, boom, they're attuned to it, they're cursed. Then, they have to use a resource to get rid of it. That's one thing that you can do.
Yeah. Yeah. Um Ben, what about species? What are your thoughts on playable species?
Personally, whatever you want to play, I'm all for. Um, However, I know that there are people who have, specific settings, like especially like low magic settings and stuff, where something like an auto gnome or a warforge just does not fit. In fact, like warforge specifically, I think they're from Eberron, and there's a lot of
Yeah.
people who it's like, they don't want to have that actually in their game, and that's perfectly fine. Me, I don't know, I'll figure out a way to get you in there, but that's just kind of how it is. um if there's certain ones that have specific abilities and stuff that could potentially break encounters, like Aarakocra, they can fly. It's something that they can do. Kenku, I think, can fly. Dragonborn, once they get to a certain level, they can just fly now. And it's just one of those things where it's like, you know what? It's not going to be super game breaking to have a character who could just do that if you work around it or incorporate that into your design. And if it does just completely negate an entire thing, then I can see where that might be an issue. And yeah, it's not great, but if your entire campaign is hinged on, oh, my people can't fly, then yeah, you got to get rid of it, I guess.
Yeah, I think species are more um
Acceptable
yeah,
to kind of ban.
acceptable is a good word kind of band based on the place you're in, the premise of your campaign, the setting of your campaign. I think that makes a lot more sense. Like my current campaign, I probably won't have I probably would not let players make like spelljammer species.
Hmm.
That just doesn't fit into the current homebrew world I have in the current time and timeline.
What, you
There
don't have
are one
ooze
or
people?
two do not have the use people.
Oh man.
Like you said, Warforged. I have like there there is not full campaign banning, but area banning. Like there are a
Hmm.
few species that only exist on certain continents
Yeah.
in my setting for, world reasons. And if we are playing a campaign on not that continent, I don't those ones are off limits. But it's very it's very minimal usually for my campaigns.
Hmm.
It's very minimal restrictions. Usually, if say, "Hey, I want to do X," um, I'll usually go, "Yeah, that totally exists." Boom, done.
Yeah.
Or that's there. Like the main city that my current campaign's taking place in is just a big old melting pot. Like most species, even if they're not super common, are not necessarily out of place,
Yeah.
right? Depending on what the players want. So yeah, usually I run very few restrictions on those, and usually when I do, it's either location specific or very setting
Yeah.
specific.
And I mean, I do agree with that. It's like, hey, I'm from this region. It's like, okay, well, that you're going to be either very rare and people are going to be constantly looking at you and being like, what are you? This is amazing. Um, or it's going to be, like some sort of discovery and stuff like that. Uh, I really like the idea of, just seeing what you can do to kind of fit it in. Sorry, I have to move a cat that's jumping in front of the microphone. Seeing what you can do to kind of fit it in. And if it can't, then again, it's just one of those conversations that you have with your players. Meanwhile, there's me who I put NBCs in there that are, awakened animals all over the place now. There's two of them, and I have ideas for plenty more. So if you want to be in one of my games and play an awakened animal, we'll make it work.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, species not a huge problem. Not very light usually. And just as in any of you out there who are DMs or who are thinking about DMing stuff, just think about it from your setting and your location. That's really kind of what it comes down to. And if there are restrictions, just let your players know up front.
Yeah.
That way they can be prepared and they can whatever concepts they come up with will fit within the setting.
Yep. And if you have a player who, again, really wants to be a robot person or a flying bird person or something like that, and you just can't make it work, then you talk to them about it. And again, they might not be the person for your campaign.
Yep. Yeah, and I mean, I had my second campaign had an Aarakocra, and it was a little bit of a learning curve, honestly. Having a person that just had unlimited access to flight.
Yeah.
It's 100% is okay if you have to kind of figure things out a little bit. Uh, Several encounters had people with range attacks.
Yeah, I mean that
That
works. I'm
yeah,
sure that the chasm with the broken bridge problem wasn't as hard as you thought it would be when you had that Aarakocra there.
unfortunately, Aarakocra are very light and cannot carry a whole lot of stuff.
Well, then there you go.
So, there was not a constant at least carrying of everyone like over all the obstacles.
Yeah.
Except the gnome or
Oh
the
yeah.
little halfling.
I mean, makes
Got to carry
sense.
the little halfling. It was adorable.
And then on
Um
top of that, cast enlarge reduce on them and make them reduce to just pocket sized. So
really tiny. Yeah.
yeah, that's
Pocket
the way to do it.
pocket gnome.
Everybody
Pocket
needs a
gnome.
pocket gnome.
Uh, and then we looked these up a little bit, and again, like feats, I don't think I've ever banned any feats, but I know there are some common, potentially frustrating ones that DMs might not allow access to, and I know specifically one of the most common would probably be lucky.
Yeah. I think that that's actually funny. And the thing that's even funnier about it is that with 5.5, I forget which background it is, but one background just like, oh yeah, your feed is lucky. Just that's what you get. And as soon as I saw that, I'm like, oh, that's just fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've never found it to be a huge problem.
yeah, me neither. I mean, if you know what, I think I've even talked about it when we talked about feats. You know, if your entire like encounter is gonna break because someone is able to re-roll a die, then there's, you know, more work that needs to be done in that encounter. Um, it's just a personal feeling I have on that. And the thing is, you know, people get advantage and disadvantage from so many different things. Lucky is just a way for them to do it. You know, it's not that big of a difference than just normal mechanics. And I looked really quick. Merchant gets the lucky feat. So if you want
That's
it,
funny.
that's what you get. But yeah,
That's really
I've
funny.
just, you know, I think one or two people might have had it in my campaigns, in one shots, definitely. And yeah, I was always for it. And the thing is once they use those 3 lucky feats for the day, you don't have to worry about it anymore. So if you really want, just make them roll for everything. I'm going to take a step, roll. I'm going to take another step, roll. I'm going to take a third step, roll. Oh man. Yeah, obviously don't do that. That's horrible DMing.
Yeah. That's a leave that game immediately.
Yes.
But yeah, we would love to hear from you. Do you have spells or items or feats or species that you ban in your games, and why? Would love to hear some of the reasoning behind it. Love to hear some of the stories behind them and the whys of why a DM might ban something for their games. So make sure to hit us up, especially on Discord. As that's just a great place to have these types of conversations.
Yeah. We will not ban your email or your Discord message unless you're rude and don't follow our rules.
All right. Before we jump in and hear about what we do in the shadows, we did want to do a quick mention that remember that Dungeon Masters campaign,
Yeah,
the
that
official one
horror
that
one.
Jasmine Bueller is DMing. Well, it got renewed, and there is a Dungeon
What?
Masters campaign 2, Experience the Magic of Arcana Unleashed, coming. The second campaign of the official D&D actual play anthology series revolves around content from the upcoming Arcana Unleashed and the Season of Magic, and will take place in a high magic action adventure set in the Forgotten Realms, Anarok Desert. So
Ooh.
this new campaign is going to be starting on July 8th. Same players who are fantastic, new characters, and so yeah, it'll be really fun. I've really enjoyed what I've watched of the first campaign so far, and while it's good, horror has never super been my jam. Like it's never been the thing I've gravitated toward.
Hmm.
Like Season of Magic, I am all about that. So this excites me.
Yep. Yeah, same here. I am all for magic. I love playing magical characters. This is going to be the one that's going to grab me, like even more so.
Yeah. It should be a lot of fun. And everyone did a great job in the first campaign. So highly recommend. We'll have the link to the article on that, where you can follow the channel and watch it here in, a little over a week. All right, Ben. Well, that brings us to the end of our episode. But of course, we love to talk a little bit about what we're doing in our own campaigns. So, Ben, please regale us of your adventures this past weekend.
Oh my gosh, it was so much fun. So, if you didn't hear last episode, my local game store does a D&D day, you know, usually about once a month or so. And this time, because Ravenloft was coming out, they were going to do a whole bunch of horror themed ones. And I'm like, okay, whatever. Horror's not my thing, but, you know, I like to play. So, Nevermore and I kept watching the signups. First wave went by. We were looking for a specific DM, nothing. Second wave went by, nothing. Third wave went by. We saw her name. We signed up instantly. Didn't even read the prompt. Didn't find out anything about it. Then we read the prompt, and it was essentially what we do in the shadows, which is perfect because we don't like, or I don't like horror a whole ton. So I'm like, I'm in. What We Do in the Shadows is an amazing movie. It's an amazing show. We're doing this. So basically, everybody in the party were underlings who lived in the house from the show. So, Nandor and all the names are blanking on me because it's late and I'm tired.
Naja
Naja,
and
Guillermo, and
Guillermo
uh, I can't, Laszlo.
Laszlo.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, oh, and Colin Robinson. So yeah, so basically they're living there and stuff, and they're basically they got a notice that, and I have a notice here. It's printed out and a handout, had all of our different violations and everything, but it was a citation for general code and non-compliance and intent to condemn. Basically, the High Auditor Vane Esquire from the Office of Domain Maintenance was going to be coming and checking on our violations to see if they're going to shut down our dread domain, or essentially the house. So it was amazing because it started off as instead of normal character introductions, it was like our talking head camera introduction for the show. So we all just kind of talked a little bit about ourselves with that. And I ended up going with a, I made a Dampier, so an actual vampire, but my character was essentially an 80s motivational speaker from like up north. So I was Jerry Thompson, and my catchphrase, which I said a lot during the whole thing, was, "If you dream it, you can believe it." And it was like I was a bard, I was a motivator. This is my whole goal, and it was just so stupid and fun. Um, we had let's see, a were sheep as one of our characters. We had a lupin, another vampire, a changeling, and then I think another Dampier as well. And so we had to go through. We had a our violations were unlicensed interdimensional portal, which we needed to basically fix a mirror that was gateway to the Shadowfell. There was improper storage of expired mortals, which there were just some dead bodies behind a couch that we had to take care of. Illegal sedition and unregulated assembly. Basically, the familiars were trying to unionize, which was a lot of fun to figure out. Vulgar taxidermy was in there. There was a phantom stuck in the stairs that we had to kind of figure out and get rid of. There was a swarm of rats we had to take care of. The HOA was on our case about things, and we had to take care of them. And then on top of that, there was a basically, yeah, like a coffee stain on a very old antique table that we had to figure out and fix and stuff. Like just really stupid, things. But we went through, did a lot of really good, creativity and stuff, had a lot of fun with it. And then we had to clear out some infestation of carrion things that were inhabiting mummy bodies in the attic. We had to get wine from the cellar without waking up this horrible demonic beast and stuff. And I mean, it was just a whole game full of hijinks, and it was a ton of fun. And then of course the High Auditor came, and well, us being us, we pissed him off and then had to kill him. And I mean, it was a lot of fun. It was just funny. Everybody knew the assignment, which was the best part of it. So we were all having a lot of fun, laughing, joking around, and just, I mean, it was great. I absolutely loved it. And I am so glad that we played in that game, because reading a lot of the other prompts of all these horror themed things and stuff, I'm like, yeah, not my thing. And this was just perfect. So lots of fun. And I had an absolute blast.
That sounds like something that I would just absolutely love.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And our DM, she has always been just very good and supportive when it comes to thinking outside the box. And then also if you embrace the concept and just kind of go with it, just, totally runs with it, plays with it, has fun. She's the same DM who did our Grinch Before Christmas, Whoville Christmas one last year, where I spoke in rhyme the whole time. And yeah, it was just a lot of fun. She's very creative with the stuff that she does. She runs her games really great. And I mean, it's not always kind of weird off the wall stuff. Like she also did like a pirate adventure, which was a ton of fun, and just a bunch of other things. Like it's absolutely a total good time. So we had a blast.
Very cool. Oh, that's so fun.
Yeah. Yeah, and I was
So fun.
Jerry Thompson from the 80s. It was great.
Ah, was it that were there some other really fun characters too?
Oh my gosh, yes. There was one of the other players was one of the DMs from the store who, routinely DMs as well. And they played a character named Dakayla, who was like this like super old haggard looking like vampire who basically like mentality and stuff was like think like actress from the 20s or something, and was just so
Nah.
much fun and like just evil too. It was just amazing, like just so funny and stuff. The were sheep was great. She was like, "Oh, I'm vegan, and like I can cook, but no one likes my vegan food here, and everything." And the Lupin was another bard as well, so the two of us were kind of doing bardy stuff and everything. And I mean, overall, it was a ton of fun.
I mean, and next year, if you did this again, you could have a real vampire class to play as.
That would be kind of cool. That would be very cool.
Yeah, that'd be interesting to see that run again with an actual like vampire class versus just like a Dampier.
Yeah. I'm really curious to see it again. We're going back to it. I'm really curious to see what they incorporate, how they do everything.
Yeah, very cool.
How about you? Did you get a chance to play?
I did. We had a session just a few days ago. Finally introduced our two new players, which was a lot of fun. I've been working with them over the last few weeks to get their characters made, get things integrated into the world, and all that sort of thing. And with the introduction, basically just ended up being at this it's called the House of Hope. It's like this celestial fronted um kind of like free clinic
Oh, that's
almost,
nice.
where a lot of the characters have connections. But long story short, before the character who died um expired during their torture, they one of the pieces of information they let loose was that this place was working with some of our other player characters.
Oh.
And so it was very much in a lot of ways primed for getting hit
Hmm.
by these villains. And so it ended up working out really well that the intro ended up being the time when the villains hit. And there are these. I did a lot of really fun stuff with it. There was a mage who cast silence over uh, the entire building, and had this device that caused this magical fog to spread throughout the whole building. So not only could none of the players talk, they couldn't see very well either. And these shadow assassin demon things attacked them
Oh.
individually. So I ended up running this whole thing theater of the mind because each player was being attacked by a different entity. And so it ended up being really, really fun, really, really interesting, as each player tried to figure out how to survive and how to damage, because when these things attacked, if they hit, the player had to roll a d4 and take their highest stat and lower it
Ooh.
by that amount. So it's not a fight that could go on for forever. But
Hmm.
it wasn't quite as harsh as like a this thing hits you and you lose a d4 of strength or a d4 of intelligence or something like that. this basically lowered everything just kind of in a line on down, uh, as it always hit the highest current stat
Yeah.
that you had. So that was really interesting, to see them, you know, kind of have to deal with, as well. But it went really well. It was a great session. The highlight of the whole battle, though, was our sorcerer, um, who was fighting one of these things. The fog had been dispelled. The device got broken. The fog had been dispelled, and they used the spell catapult, which is a fantastic spell.
Oh, definitely.
Um, to pick up a bedpan filled with pee and smash it into this demon's head, killing it and
Nice.
spraying pee everywhere. So that was the highlight. Ridiculousness of the session. And the bad guy who had kind of orchestrated this whole thing, when the henchman went down, telling the mage who had been casting the silence spell, get me out of here. That was part of the whole teleport out. The counter spell was tried, and then the mage counterspelled the counterspell, and
Yeah.
the bad guys were able to get away. So it was, yeah, very very fun session, very good session. We're gonna meet again next time, and it's gonna be one of the sessions I'm excited about because I don't have to prep a whole lot for it, because it's going to be very RP heavy as the, you know,
It's a get
end
to
of
know
this
you
battle,
mixer.
end result. Exactly. It's going to be a big get to know you thing, figure out what to do next, and then I will plan from there type thing. So
Yeah.
very excited for a little more role play heavy session, but I wanted to start things out with a bang, and mission accomplished.
Sounds like you definitely did.
Yeah, it was
Well,
very
actually,
fun.
no,
Very
there
fun.
wouldn't have been a bang because of the silence spell.
Exactly. That was the funny thing is, like, one of these characters who is a monk is just like like punching and smacking things into the wall or into, like the countertop or something, and no sound is going on, like just describing how weird it feels to like smash like this demon's head in against a counter but not hear a thing,
That's pretty great.
and how weird that is, and how like misses were because of how the feeling of wrongness versus, like, a lack of skill or something. So
Mhm.
yeah, very 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 good. But yeah, a lot of fun. Can't wait to play again. But that will have to wait for another episode, because this does bring us to the end. As always, Ben, it's been a pleasure, and it's wonderful talking to you about all the TTRPG things. But as always, before we go, why don't you tell everyone where we can be reached?
All right. Well, as we mentioned before, hey, reach out on our Discord. Tell us about any spells, feats, species, whatever things that have been banned in your games or that you do ban. Uh, because we're curious. Bring that discussion to Discord. And if you're not a part of our Discord, you can always join it. There will be a link on in our show notes on dndiscussions.com. That's right. You'll find everything there, every single episode that we've ever had, as well as our show notes and links to our socials, like, again, Discord, the show's Blue Sky account, which is at DN Discussions on Blue Sky, or Ryan's, which is at TBK Zord on Blue Sky, or mine, which is at Ben Bumhofer on Blue Sky. We use that. If those are like too kind of public, and you're maybe a little shy and want to send us an email, you can always send those to dndiscussions@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. And again, tell us your stories, tell us about your campaigns, if you have any questions, or again, anything about banned content that you want to play or couldn't play, or that you get rid of in your own game. Aside from that, there is another show that I'd like to recommend. It's called Plus 5 to Hit. It is a D&D actual play podcast that I'm on. We are having fun. I'm really enjoying it, and there's mysteries abound. And the name of the game is I Don't Trust People in Power. We'll just leave it at that, and check
Seems
it
like a
out.
good policy to have.
Yeah, I mean, they're being sketchy, so yeah. But check out Plus 5 to Hit. It's a lot of fun. We're going to be recording another episode soon. We just did one last week. Don't know when that's out yet, but we're doing another one tomorrow because we get busy around weekends sometimes, so especially holiday weekends. Anyways, this show, D&D Discussions, again, check it out, dndiscussions.com. You can find links to everything there. And with that, Ryan, it is always a pleasure talking to you. And everybody listening, thank you so much for your support. You're awesome. Just, keep doing what you're doing. And until next time, everybody, make sure to roll high and be good to each other.
Take care, and we'll see you soon.